Welcome back to Wedding Empires, where we, of course, explore the strategies and stories behind some of the most successful wedding businesses. Today, we're thrilled to invite Craig Peterman, photography and videography visionary. Craig Peterman, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So, I've heard that you've mastered the art of building a brand that not only stands out, but truly resonates with couples. So we thought we'd invite you on to kind of dive into your journey of developing your signature style and the power of authenticity, and I guess how you can navigate a crowded market with purpose and passion. A crowded market in wedding photography, which Benjamin, I believe you know a bit about.
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. I'm going to take notes on this one. I want to hear all about you, Craig, and hear what you've done and hear how you've created what you've created. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah. Look,
I look forward to all of them with you, Jack. But we've got Craig today. We're both photographers. It's going to be a bit of a bromance today, I reckon, for a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, well, what everyone missed was before we went live, they were both, oh, I like your background. Oh, I like your background.
Yeah. So once
Yeah.
again, everyone, we are coming to you, but we're both in different rooms of the Big Brother house now. So yeah.
All right. Well, Ben, I'm going to hand this one over to you because I believe you're more of the expert on this one.
Or is it just because I didn't want to do the intro? Anyway, moving right along. So, Craig, mate, what inspired you to start Craig Peterman Photography and Videography?
Well, that's a great question. I had a really strong passion for photo and video from an early age. I mean, it really started when I was in high school. I took a class and I really loved how I could create a scene or create a moment and kind of tell a story without actually speaking it. So I think that really kind of resonated with me. But I started doing photos for friends, doing portraits for free. And that kind of snowballed into doing weddings and that sort of thing. So I guess starting that business was just a natural step once I started getting into weddings a lot more and kind of getting down that road. So yeah, just really inspired to tell stories of a wedding day. It's really cool. I get to party for a living. So, it's so much fun and just, seeing everybody's unique cultures and stories and everything.
Yeah, it's a different vibe on a wedding day, isn't it? It's I think when we've got a good wedding day and a good couple, we've got the best job in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you get to see people at their happiest moments most of the time. It's incredible. Yeah, seeing everybody at their happiest and just seeing all that fun and capturing the story and, just the afterwards too, seeing the couple and how happy they are with what you give them too is just, it's so satisfying. So it's an amazing job.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us about your style, Craig. What is your style? Who is Craig as a person and how did you go about developing that style? Three-pronged
Yeah.
question.
So yeah. My style, I guess, really, it's more of an ethos, I guess, is what I would say. It's an approach on how I do photography and videography and how I approach business in the wedding industry as a whole. So I believe in developing a luxury kind of brand, a luxury lifestyle that caters to a great experience from start and even after the finish of the wedding. So I'm trying to give the best possible service to my clients as I can do from the start, from when they first contacted me, all the way till the delivery of the photos and videos as well. So it's not just about the wedding day itself. It's about building that great approach from start to finish. And that's what I think my style is kind of giving that luxury experience without being over the top pricey too. So, which I think is a great thing. So yeah, just developing that kind of signature approach, I think, is really what's helped me develop into a good brand in my area and my state.
Yeah.
Can
So
you give me a couple? Sorry to jump in. Can you give me a couple of examples of how, I guess, if I was a bride and considering a few different photographers, what would be different? What would be the experience as a lead that would sort of make me think, oh, this guy's a bit different?
Yeah, well, I think I personally don't like to follow, like, if I'm trying to approach you as a client, I don't like to do the same styles as everybody else. I'm not trying to follow the same trends that you would see online. My thing is trying to, number one, give you a great experience, right? Contacting you, giving you preparation, tips, questionnaires, getting you prepared for the day. And then when the day approaches, walking you through things without being overbearing, helping you get through the day without being too much. And then afterwards, after delivery too, still staying in contact. How did you like things? Checking in a year from now, how things going. But I think
Are you still married?
that's a touchy one, right?
Don't laugh. It happens all the time.
Yeah, sorry. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, just kind of like having that approach. And then I really tell clients to like, I'm not trying to, I mean, of course we're going to get the stuff that's staged on a wedding day, that we're going to capture that part, but trying to give more light to the things that are behind the scenes or that are not so much staged, the candid moments, the stuff that people would notice, the details. I personally put a lot of stock in that. So that's a photographer and videographer approach specifically, I guess. But I mean, I'm sure planners and, other vendors can get that approach as well. So
My dog Louie totally agrees with you.
Yeah, welcome to professionalism here. We've got Louis in the background. I kind of go off script all the time. I'm a little bit rogue. Jack's the one that keeps everything going, and I'm the one that goes rogue all the time. So I kind of want to ask you, from a marketing sense, we know that being authentically yourself and being authentically who you are is an advantage and is the way we need to market ourselves. But how do you market yourself and how do you stand out in such a crowded market that we currently have going on now? So I mean, I know up here on the Sunshine Coast, there's 4,000 photographers between Noosa and sort of the south side of Brisbane. I'm not sure what it's like down where you are, but that's a lot. And in order to stand out, you've got to do something different. So how do you stand out?
For me, particularly, it's going to be through my experience and kind of word of mouth and what people are saying about me. So I think reviews are really important for me. How I approach clients is really important. That experience that you give to clients. I've seen so many photographers and videographers that just completely miss the mark on giving a good experience. They're great photographers, but they just don't know how to talk to people. So I think that's really where I think I excel at something like that. Plus, I try to make sure my work is great too. Obviously, you have to be good at what you do to be successful. So I think those two things have really helped me. And then, of course, just marketing the right way for me in my area has helped a lot. I'm a part of certain marketing strategies in my specific area that have helped me quite a bit. And for example, I don't know if you're familiar with like the Knot or Wedding Wire. Those are really good marketing strategies for me, but, using Google to my advantage, marketing through Google, Facebook, Instagram, we could do a whole nother podcast, 30 minutes on how to market effectively in your area. But I think just in a nutshell, finding the right style and ethos to your brand and how that's going to fit in with your customers is going to be really important on how you become successful. And then you just build your marketing around that.
Yep.
So how do you, from say advertising and marketing, is there any other ways that you sort of find that you're consistently attracting your ideal clients?
I think through vendor relationships, honestly, if I had to really kind of give you one right off the bat, just building great vendor relationships has been a great way to attract the clients that I want to attract. Building a great, friend zone around you with people that refer you is going to be a great way to just get the clients that you're looking to get. Because if you are referring vendors that also refer you that have that same approach and same way you want to attack a wedding day and how you want to approach it and how you want to give that great experience, I think is going to be extremely helpful for you to get those clients that you want. So referring back and forth between vendors to clients, I think is a great way to do that.
Yep. Hey, when it comes to photography, all of us photographers preach storytelling. Can you share with us a bit how, if storytelling is involved in your marketing and your brand, and if so, how it's involved and how you use storytelling to build your brand?
Yeah, I mean, of course, storytelling is huge for photography and videography. I mean, it's almost everything that we do most of the times. Storytelling is huge for me. So again, I try to approach this by capturing those candid moments, those behind the scenes moments. I try to focus more on that. Of course, you got to put the light on the stuff that's, staged, that's going to be planned. But those unplanned moments, those things that happen that not a lot of people notice, I think is what weddings are really remembered by, is those things that, that aren't planned. That's what makes a wedding memorable. So that's the way we tell the story for clients, is approach getting those moments, getting the regular moments that we need to, and then just building a great story for them to look back on. It's especially helpful with videography. I do both. Videography, of course, is a lot easier to tell a story. But yeah, it's really cool to do photo and video and kind of give a client something to look back on 10, 20 years from now. So.
Yeah. I'm curious, when it comes to photo and video, are you managing both? Are you using two separate people? How do you play that?
So I have a rig where I have 5 cameras set up and I capture everything. I'm just kidding. I don't have that, but
I was waiting.
No, I have a team that helps me. We do photo and video at the same time together as a unit. So it's it's a lot easier to have a good team around you and people that have the same values as you do. So yeah, we attack weddings all together at the same time.
Yeah. So there's a massive, and you just touched on it a little bit before, there's a massive trend of all the behind the scenes, and a lot of wedding clients, brides and grooms, want to see behind the scenes, and people in general want to see behind the scenes, I guess, of what we do. So do you pander to that behind the scenes? Like, is that something that you do? And if so, how do you manage all that behind the scenes stuff in terms of shooting it and putting it all together and all that sort of stuff? Do you have a social media team that does that, or do you do that yourself?
Oh, no. So, what I mean by behind the scenes, I think, is more of like, not the actual behind the scenes, but like the stuff that's unscripted on a wedding day is what we try to capture, like little emotions or details or, funny things that happen that aren't planned. And that's really what we mean by behind the scenes stuff. Like if someone actually wants behind the scenes footage or photos or stuff like that, we can do that. But for us, what we do right now is we focus more on the unscripted moments and capturing that. And then also, of course, getting the stuff that is planned. But yeah, behind the scenes stuff is becoming really popular here. We just haven't really approached that yet.
Yeah. It is something that's becoming bigger and bigger on social media. I'm sure you've seen that as well, Jack, with the wedding planning side of things and all that sort of stuff as well.
Oh, definitely. I remember we had, who was that? Angela Rush.
Yes.
She was talking about how a previous guest that we had on, who was also a wedding photographer, talked about the stuff that went viral for her on TikTok was those, things that went wrong or funny moments that were unscripted. It seems to be really what takes off on the social platforms, isn't it?
Despite our amazing work that we do, Craig, it's the crazy behind the scenes that makes it.
The great photos don't mean nothing. It's just the behind the scenes moments. That's what gets people.
Yeah.
Actually, I did get one of those. I got one of those Meta glasses. I don't know if you've seen those, and it can capture. Yeah. You can capture behind the scenes, pretty efficiently. So it's pretty cool. Sorry to interrupt you, Jack.
I know. With Darling Don't Panic, my wedding planning business that we had for years and years, we had the typical hero shot on the website that was, the best wedding that we'd done recently, and whatever. And then I came across this photo one day that was totally between my official moments. And there was so much going on. Like this person was looking at this one and this one was chatting to this one. And I was like, that's actually my favorite photo right now. So if you ever go to that website, you can see, but it's certainly not a traditional, the bridesmaids lined up and everyone's perfect. It's just reality of what goes on a wedding day, kind of encapsulated. So I love it.
The madness that goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd like to know, sort of stepping away from the taking photos and video side of it, how do you kind of stay on top of all the different platforms and being there online and, managing that side of the business?
Oh my God. You're making me I want to throw my phone through the window just hearing that. But yeah, it's tough. I work really hard. I get up early, I stay up late, and I work really hard, and I have to stay on top of it. It's just something you have to do if you want to be marketable and build a brand. You have to stay on top of the social media platforms. You have to post. You just have to do it. There's not really any way of getting around it. You could hire somebody to help you with it, of course, but I don't really feel like doing that. So yeah, you just have to do it every day. And that's one of the things I try to do, is do at least a story every day. Something like that. You don't have to post every day, but I think it's important for me to find a good median, like not just posting just to post, but posting quality content. So trying to figure out that in between is really tough. Just trying to, work as hard as you can to juggle those and keep posting. You have to stay relevant.
And what kind of posts do you think are the best performing ones for you at the moment? Like, would you say a reel or a story, or any particular platform?
Lately, it's been a reel. A reel has been my best posting, but I do notice a good post sometimes is like a mix between photos and a reel, like you put them together into one post. That seems to perform really well for me. So the algorithms are ever changing on Instagram and Facebook, so it's kind of tough to figure out what they're actually gonna show, like, more likely to show. But yeah, just for me right now, it's just a reel that's doing well.
Which on Instagram tends to be the thing that is kind of doing well at the moment. So while you were just talking, I've just jumped on Instagram and stalked your Instagram page, and 53 or nearly 54,000. That's a huge build.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
That kind of brings me to my next question. With social media being so important for us as photographers and pretty much everyone now, what's been some of the challenges that you've faced in building your brand when it comes to, like, all the way from the start? Obviously, you started quite a while ago and you've built up on a massive social media presence. So what are some of the challenges that you've faced in building that and building your brand?
I guess just figure out what works. That was really kind of tough for me in the beginning, is just like, what should I post? How often should I post? What would work here? What do people want to see? I think I've kind of just gotten away from that. Like I used to post based on what I think people wanted to see. And now I'm kind of posting more on like what I think is great, personally. So I think just kind of sticking to what you like and how you value your work and how you value your brand is important when you post, and not just trying to pander to people, because it does get pretty old to see the same things over and over. Like if I see this all the time, like the moment versus the shot reels, and it just drives me nuts because everybody's doing it. It's like, come on, like, can someone do something different? And I think that's really important for other people to just kind of understand, is you don't have to do everything everybody else is doing. Try something different. Don't be afraid to branch out and do something else. So just try to stick true to who you are and your brand. So I think that's really important for me.
What do you think, Jack? Have you you've got some questions there? There was a nice little drop punt over to you, wasn't it, Jack?
I'm keen to know how, after a wedding and you get that sort of testimonial or the stories from the clients, how do you weave those in and repurpose those?
So I usually will post a story about it every so often, like a review with the person's name. I think those are really cool. It just kind of gives your followers like, hey, look how great he's doing, or look how good of an experience it would be. The really good ones I like to put up on my website. I think that's a great place to post your reviews as well. Just kind of giving your clients more of a good, I can't think of the word for it, but kind of solidifying your brand and how good of experience that you offer.
Yep, love it.
Can I jump in on? Oh, go.
So weird, because normally it's the other way around. I'm like, Ben,
go on, jump in, Jack.
it's all
You're good. All right. So, Craig, I want to ask you about trends. There is in the industry so many trends, good, bad, ugly, you name it. What's your stance on those trends that are happening, and how do you stay authentic despite the public pressure or the pressure on social media to pander to those trends?
I mean, some of those trends are so cringy. I mean, come on, every time I go on Instagram, like, my God. But yeah, I think it's, if it's important to your clients, I think it should be important to you. It has to be your client-based business. So I think what you find like that you could work into your business, maybe sprinkle it in a little bit. You don't have to fully go into it, but maybe sprinkle some of this stuff here and there. I mean, listen, you gotta kind of figure out what you like versus what is trendy and kind of try to blend those two together for your clients. So for me, I just try to sprinkle in things here and there, like the blurry photos. For me as a photographer, I find them kind of cringy sometimes, but of course I do sprinkle in some here and there because clients love it. So yeah, I think it's finding a good median is really good to do for your clients for sure.
So as a photographer then, this is a very photography based question. As a photographer, if there's a trend that goes against the aesthetics of good photography and goes against the rules of quality photography, will you engage? Let me give you an example. The direct flash on the camera straight at the clients, they look like a deer in the headlights. As opposed to beautiful bounced flash where you've got a short side of the face and that sort of thing.
It's gotta be the right situation. You can't do that all the time. It has to be the right situation. So if it's really important to my clients, yes, I will try it. Because my main goal in my brand is making sure that there's 100% satisfaction and they love everything about their experience with me. I'm willing to do that for clients but it has to be the right situation. If it doesn't seem right, I'm going to tell the client like, hey, this is not going to work. Like if direct flash is not going to work in this situation, are you sure you want to do it? So I think it's just being honest and open is really important for things, photography specific. So
yeah, that would go as well, Jack, wouldn't it? With the planning, the decorating, the everything side of things, you know how the day is going to work, how everything's going to work. And you've got a couple that want to go rogue.
Being a wedding planner, you kind of become an expert of, thinking on the fly and things changing and, rolling with them. And, it's probably the biggest part of the day for us is managing those things and, hiding them from the couple and dealing with them or, whatever it is. But
yeah,
it's sort of a bit different on our side. But Craig, I'd like to know, like, from a branding perspective, you're this far along now. What kind of branding advice do you wish that you had in the beginning that you've learnt now?
Well, there's two things. I'd say number one, specific for weddings, really, is the day isn't about you. It's about your clients. So making sure that you give them what they want is paramount. You can't approach it like, I want to do these things this way. It's, it's their day. You have to approach it like it's their day. And so I think that's probably one of the big things for me. But another thing too is just figuring out who you are and what you like and how you want to approach it. You can't just shotgun into the wedding industry and just figure it out on the fly. I think it's really important to figure out who you are and what you want from the start. It's really going to advance you quicker than just trying to figure it out in the midst of doing it. So I know that's really hard to kind of figure out in the beginning is, how exactly you want to do it, but at least having like a good idea and a good plan on what you want to do and just working your way back from that point and building it that way. So those would be my two things that I wish I had known sooner for sure.
Speaking of ideas and planning, is there any risks that you've taken with the brand that have really paid off for you?
Well, I mean, I guess you could say raising prices is a risk. That's always a risk. That's something I do every year usually. And I scared every time I do it because like, am I going to get clients if I raise my prices? But I think it's always paid off because if you gain experience, you have to raise your prices. If you're getting booked and you have too many weddings to handle, you have to raise your prices. So for me, that is something that's been a risk that's paid off.
Ben, have you got your famous question ready to go?
It's not a famous question.
It so is.
It so is. So Craig, there's a question I ask all of our guests at the end of our podcast, and that question is: if you walked outside today and ran into an 18-year-old version of yourself, what would you tell yourself about life and success, knowing what you know now?
Not buying gear. No, I would just say save your money. Number one, that's one thing I have trouble with, but just taking your time, be patient. Don't rush into things. I think that's always something that's been consistently a problem for me. But yeah, just being true to yourself, taking your time and saving money, and stop buying gear, for Christ's sake. You got enough already.
I'm not even a photographer, but I kind of sympathize. Of how many lights and cameras and shit do I have?
I'm surprised that nothing's arrived for you while we've been on the stream, Jack.
Oh, a good day, Dad.
I thought you just had a great tan.
I did get online shopping today. I got new car mats for my Audi.
Right. Speaking of buying gear and buying things, Jack is world champion.
But yeah, Amazon every day
Right.
type of person.
We won't tell Greg, my husband, this though, okay? It's between us three. Anyway, Craig, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast and getting to know you. I hope, business continues to boom, and we'll get you back soon and talk about maybe the marketing and the social media side of things and how you're doing that. But it's been an absolute pleasure. If you'd like to check out Craig's work, you can find his website is petermanphotovideo.com. He's also, of course, on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll pop those links into the show notes. But thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you guys again. It's been a pleasure. I loved it. I love being a part of this podcast.
Thanks, Craig. It's been awesome to meet you, mate.
Thank you.